go ahead and get started. Really appreciate everyone taking the time to meet with me today, as well as hopefully watch this recording later. Um, we are Blackthorn Events. We're an event registration and management solution built on the Salesforce platform. We've mostly focused on in-person events, but as a result of the way the world has turned, we actually have some cool virtual options that I'll be showing you today as well. So if you're looking for something in that realm, then you come to the right place. So our biggest value proposition to organizations and how we work with our clients is that Salesforce is usually their main place of truth, or becoming their main place of truth, where they're gathering all this information on prospects, clients, members, constituents, etc., trying to understand how they interact and build analytics off of those interactions. Oftentimes events is outside of that main Salesforce instance, like Cvent, Eventbrite, or you may be using one of the other many ones that are out there in the world today to take registrations and to manage these events. And then you want to be able to get this data connected with all those other interactions you're having with these individuals. However, that's a problem when it's off the platform. Either you have to integrate it or you have to manually put it in. This causes issues for IT and business users because it's time, money, effort spent on integration. Half the time it doesn't work. Business users can't understand how their data is not lining up with other things and not able to make real-time decisions to understand the ROI of their events. So with us, you actually are able to leverage Salesforce to create and manage those events. So you're able to create web pages, different registration paths, ability to take payments, check those individuals in, virtually as well, and then creating all of these event records right within Salesforce so everything lines up together and you're able to see a full picture of these individuals beyond your events as well. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the actual demonstration, which is what we've all come here to see. So here, the first thing I like to note is that there's many different ways to put our solution into play, right? Organizations run different types of events where they're open to the public, or you'll have private events, or you'll have mixed events where some ticket types are open, some are closed, sessions, as well as you want to invite specific people. So, there's a lot of different ways to put us into play. So if you don't see it here today, doesn't mean we can't do it. We have many different use cases out there. The thing that I want to show you is that the ability to put us right into your website. So this right here is Connected University, but this can be any website, right? Yours might be on WordPress or a custom website, etc. So an individual comes to your website, they can scroll down here. This has nothing to do with Blackthorn at this point, but once you get down here, here's an events calendar component that you're able to embed right within your actual website. This individual has the ability to search for different events, start date, end date, ability to do different types of categories defined by your team. So a lot of flexibility here to be able to set up this experience. We have many different calendars. You can put these in different places in your website, different types of calendars, side-by-side view. So a lot of different ways to deploy this. Once an individual is interested in an actual event, they'll go ahead and click on it, and then you'll give a full information about that event, right? So this is the Dunder Mifflin Golf Tournament. We're huge Office fans over here. So you can see overview, sessions, sponsors, information about the event is all right here for, that is displayed. When an individual wants to register, they'll go ahead and hit register. So we have flexible ticket types that individuals can then select from. You have the ability to have priced, free, the ability to put items on there, the ability to add donations. So a lot of flexibility in giving offerings to these individual to register. When an individual wants to register, they'll go ahead and hit add attendee. They'll fill out information about themselves. They'll then get custom questions that you've asked them. We have conditional logic. So do you know Michael Scott? Yes. We'll go ahead. What's his greatest strength? Screenplay writing. Michael Scarn, absolutely a wonderful screenplay. Would probably get 100% on Rotten Tomato if it were a real screenplay. So that individual is registered and good to go. One of these things we actually have is an Add Myself button. So this is unique if you're inside of a Salesforce community. So if your organization utilizes communities, when someone authenticates, they actually have the ability to add themselves because they're authenticated. They'll then see information about themselves pre-populated because you have this information on them. You then can continue to profile these individuals to update that information in Salesforce by gathering this information from them. You have the ability to do multiple registrations, so you can get a total. Go ahead and go to checkout. Oops, actually I get it. And there's also the ability to restrict different things. So if they have to answer questions as well to pass through to the checkout. So it's always helpful to have those at your control. Go ahead and go to checkout. You can then pay with debit or credit card or pay later, up to you as an organization. The great news is all this information except the credit card data will get put into Salesforce and sales documents and transactions, the ability to refund. So we work with over 140 different payment gateways, and you'll really be able to fit what your team needs. One of the other ways to register is the ability to invite specific groups of individuals, or if maybe if you have a hidden ticket on an event, you only want to have certain people see that. So you can do a specific invite like you see here. Hello, Jason, you're invited to this event. This link is produced for this specific individual. And then this individual then can hit the RSVP section up here at the top. When they hit yes, they then have pre-populated data for that individual. Nice part about this is this gives you a nice registration experience, even if you're not within a community, right? So you can get pre-populated data if you're inviting specific people or have hidden tickets. That's all available right here. Again, all this data going right into the Salesforce instance. So big takeaway from this front end, right, is flexible registration paths. We can fit into your website. We can invite specific people. It can have hidden events, hidden tickets. So a lot of different flexibility on how you want to go about deploying these different paths to have a user flow that's relevant for your organization. Switching into, event emails and follow-up and when they come to the event, we have some options here. When in-person comes back into the flow of things, you have the ability to have QR codes. Each individual will get a QR code. We then have a mobile check-in application, which we'll send out in a follow-up, is that you have the ability to check people in. As a staff member, you can scan the QR code. You can swipe people to check them into sessions, print badges on site. So all of that will be ready when in-person comes back. For virtual, this is a new thing that we had and rolled out. You can actually connect your webinar accounts to Salesforce. We do Zoom, GoToWebinar, and WebEx today, and we have many more to come. The great thing about this individual is when they go through a registration process, since Zoom is connected on the back end, we actually produce a link specific to them, which then pops up this screen and allows then for us to have what we're doing right now in this webinar. As we have this conversation, I can present, I can open up the floor. The great part about this is this actually tracks the attendance right in Salesforce. So all of this information is getting put right into Salesforce. It's not stuck in Zoom. A lot of organizations today have that information stuck in Zoom and they can't get it back into Salesforce, or the integration doesn't work that well. So we decided to say, get everything in Salesforce from a registration and attendance perspective. A couple other things before we flip into the back end and check out the data is that we wanted to make a really big UI vamp for events and marketing teams. That's one of the biggest feedbacks we've had. So we actually have templates coming out in the next month. You can see one right here, University of Arizona. This is just an example of different templates you can use, a little bit more futuristic, a little bit more flexible. We then also have the ability to do your own CSS. So if you have CSS or HTML that's unique to your organization, you have the ability to overlay that. So right here, you're seeing what looks like our raw event information that you have in your Salesforce instance. And then if you overlay your CSS, you can get the exact look and feel that you're looking for. And again, these can be free floating event pages for those larger events that you do. They don't have to be within a website. So all that information, right, that you're gathering is getting put right into your Salesforce instance. So for those who are unfamiliar with Salesforce so much is that you're logged right in here as a staff member. So this is the back end of Salesforce. You're logged in as a staff member. You then can see anything in your Salesforce instance, contacts, accounts, opportunities, donations, whatever you're tracking in Salesforce, you can see it. Here in an existing contact record, Michael Scott, you have information about Michael Scott. In this related section, this is where Blackthorn comes in. We have an attendee record that is being created with those interactions that were invited, they registered, they attended. All this information is getting logged here within this attendee record. So you can see Michael Scott, registered, date and time, attended, information that he filled out during the registration is all right here. The great part about this is that we're creating an attendee record, and then it's up to you how you want to match that to existing contact records or create new lead records. Very flexible. So you probably have some sort of thing in place to manage duplicates, not create new ones. We fit right into that. So we're very flexible to make sure that your team doesn't have duplicate records. This right here really is the biggest value add to organizations. So you're probably using something like Cvent or Eventbrite or any of those third parties. This attendee and event data is living somewhere else and then integrating back into Salesforce. Oftentimes it doesn't work that well. Sometimes people just give up on it completely. So you're able to have this data all in one place. So you can see what individuals went to what event over a period of time. Did they take action? Did they marketing follow up? So all that's right there connected to their contact record. One of the other nice things is that this was built in the mind of knowing that a lot of these event personas are using Cvent or Eventbrite. Sometimes organizations have never seen Salesforce when we come into play, right? They're new to it. So we want to make it really easy for those event individuals to create and manage these events. So right here in the upper right hand corner, you have the ability to hit new event. You can see a bunch of different event templates. These templates are created and owned by your team. We'll help you set them up, we'll empower you, but it's completely up to you to be able to create new ones. You're empowered to be able to have that flexibility. That's one way of creating it. Another way of doing it is having an existing event. So we'll go ahead and go to this Connected University event. So you can have an existing event and you can hit clone. You can clone the entire thing, or you can clone specific pieces like the event item, the speakers, the sponsors. So you have real flexibility in doing the whole thing or doing pieces and then interacting with that other data. This is then a one-stop shop of creating what the look and the feel of the event, creating the ticket types, the sessions, the speakers. All of that can be done right here off of this event object. So as we scroll down through the details, you can see image, description, start date, end date, is it free or paid, wait listing, settings, who to contact, venue, tracking codes, financial summaries. All that sort of fun stuff is right here. The ability to set up tasks as well, like confirm catering, send out invites. This is a nice little light project management as well. Shouldn't even say light. This is a full-on event management where you're able to get up and assign people, make sure catering's in play, the invite list is ready, assign a bunch of different individuals. Great interaction right here. You then can set up tickets, sessions, speakers. So let's dive into this ticket option. You can see all the different ticket types available. If you want to go ahead and edit one, we'll go ahead and edit this alumni one or create a new one, right? It's the same concept. You're able to edit information about the ticket, the price, the description, start date, end date, capacity, wait listing, forms, etc. So all of that is really just a format that your events user can kind of go through. It's very much structured so that non-Salesforce users can jump right into this with little learning and just pick these up pretty quickly to create these nice event experiences that you're looking for. Relevant to today, right, this virtual event will pop into. This is a little bit of a smaller template, just a nice little webinar. You have the ability to connect your Zoom account or your other webinar accounts through this option. You then have this one-click option to create webinar or meeting, and then produces this streaming link, which then appears in the attendance confirmation email like we saw earlier, and then you get to be able to attend the event like you're doing now. So basically all your events team has to do is connect the webinar account and then one click everything, and then you'll be able to have a full setup. The greatest value here is that organizations stay or operating in Zoom or GoToWebinar or WebEx, all that data lives in there, right? And they have to operate out of there. Our goal was to have the events team operate out of the platform that everyone uses on a daily basis with all of your data. So you don't even have to utilize that webinar platform anymore or log into it. It's just a piece in your overall Salesforce instance. And again, you can see all of this information for these individuals of who registered, who invited, who canceled, who attended, etc. One other thing to note is that we have reoccurring events as well. So if you have a bunch of different webinars or admission type of events, those are all scheduled through our reoccurring section. One of the nice features that we have is we have an event to campaign sync. So all of our clients already have marketing tools that they utilize, Pardot, Marketing Cloud, Web, or Marketo, right? HubSpot, etc. It doesn't matter whichever ones you use, good to go with us. If you connect them to your campaigns, which most of the time organizations have, we connect to campaigns as well. You then can have a full cycle of this. So really what this means for business users is, let's say you have 2,000 people getting sent out an email through your third-party marketing solution, we'll call it Marketo. Those 2,000 people get sent an invite. They then register through the links I showed you today. Their Salesforce gets updated. If then the campaign gets updated, which then suppresses those individuals off the list when you send the next invite. So for business users, like an events or a marketing person, you set this up and it just flies on its own. It's automated. It's correct. It's wonderful. For a little bit deeper dive is you can actually connect the specific events and the specific registration and attendee information right here. So the statuses update that you saw, update the campaign status, which then lets Marketo, Pardot, Marketing Cloud, etc. know who to send what and who to put on specific journeys. We have a lot of examples of organizations having us get fit into their journeys. This is again another example of organizations come from Salesforce, having a marketing solution, having something like Cvent, Eventbrite, etc. Fitting all three of those together for a nice, succinct journey that a user likes and a staff understands is pretty hard to do. We are able to take out 2 integrations from that and pop it right into Salesforce, and you're able to have that flow completely ready to go from start to finish. One of the final things I want to talk about is the ability to use Salesforce reports and dashboards, right? So everything that you've seen today is in Salesforce, meaning you can create reports and dashboards off of this. So we have reports and dashboards that come out of the box. You can play with those. You can then create new ones. So this is just an example of events over time. Go ahead and pop into this one. We'll then see the specific individuals of registration and attendee status. So up to you. This right here is really key. Organizations come to us very often with not understanding their return on investment from events or return on engagement, right? Because they have different solutions and they're like, we put $50,000 towards events every year. We're not positive. We're thinking they help drive engagement and investment. We can't point to metrics that actually say, yes, they do. Organizations walk away putting this into place and saying, okay, these 10 events had 200 people come to it. They then donated X amount of dollars. They then bought X amount of software. We have a lot of different examples of all of those, of being able to really understand what your events are doing and what are working, what are not working, making real-time business decisions, because it's all on a Salesforce platform. So all that data is interacting with each other and giving you the ability to really understand how your events are working. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and open it up to questions.